Welcome to Unit 7, which is covering special pasting in Excel. Now, in the last unit we covered copying data, and this unit will cover how do we use that data that we copied and paste it into a new sheet or a different tab. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is understanding pasting options. What options do we have to actually paste that data? Now, I've got a little table here. It's got a combination of values and formulas in here, and different formatting as well. And what I want to do is I want to replicate this table over here. So we talked about how to copy and paste. So copying is a simple function which we went through in the last chapter. We select the range or individual cells that we want to copy. So let's say we want to select this row here, and then to copy, the options we have is to press Control C on our keyboard or press this button up here which says copy, and it tells you that keyboard shortcut as you highlight it. Once you've copied it, you'll have this green rotating bar around it which tells you that you now have copied this. Now, the paste button is over here, and currently it's grayed out because I haven't copied anything. But as soon as I've copied this range, you'll see as the green bar appears, so does the paste button. So our options are number 1 with the keyboard, which is Control V. Okay, Control V. Now that's the default paste function, and it's the same as if you had just pressed up here. Notice that there's two options, however, because there's the standard paste, which is Control V, and there's a little bit more detail in here. So you can actually press this down arrow here, and it gives you all kinds of different paste types, and each of them do a slightly different thing. So the two key types are paste and paste values. And now the difference are paste values is if you have a formula or other kind, a paste value will paste it as a value instead of a formula. Whereas paste in general will just copy like so, and whatever the formatting and structure of what was in these cells, it'll copy across. So if it was a value, it'll copy a value. If it was a formula, it will copy a formula. Now, let's go through this. There's some formulas in here. Let me just format these as numbers. Now, let's say that I want to copy across this total here to over here. What I can do is I can press Control C and press Control V to paste it. Now, by default, this is the standard paste here. This is what's going to happen. It's going to paste this one here. Now, you'll notice that this is in the general paste, which means that whatever was in here, it'll copy across here. So for example, there was a formula in here, which means what's being copied here is a formula as well. Now, this might not have the intended outcome that we think, because for example, if I want to paste this over here, the formula is also going to be pasted across, and it's going to sum. Well, let's paste it over here. Here's a better example. Okay. So now that I've pasted it over here, because the formula moves across 3 cells to the left, every time I paste it, that formula is going to be summing 3 cells to the left of that. So that might not be your intended outcome if you just want to show these exact values here. So in that case, what you'd want to do is you'd actually want to paste values. So let's copy this, and over here, where we're missing it, we're going to go paste. Instead of this default one up here, we're going to go paste values like that. And now there's no more formula up here in the bar. It's a hard-coded number, and it looks the same as what it was over here. Okay, so I'm just going to clear this for us to start again. Now, the other things I want to show you are the other types of paste. So, see over here, we've got formulas, we've got numbers formatting, or keep source formatting. Now for paste values, it's got the same 3 options. It's got just a general paste, it's got a values and number formatting, and it's got a values and source formatting. So in either situation, you get the choice of just the value or the number or just the formula. You can choose the formula / value and the number formatting, or number 3, the whole source formatting. So the 3 differences are, number 1, here is just the value. Notice how that this doesn't look like this. So the formatting is basically the background, the text color, the text size, the borders of the cell, that's all the formatting. And because we're only copying the value, it doesn't copy across any of that. Now the next thing I want to show you is I'm just going to change these number formats to a currency, to a percentage, to a dollar, to a time. Okay, so these are all number formats. So the second option is you can just paste the number formats like this, and it'll carry those across. Okay. Now notice the difference. I've just done one paste with number formatting and one paste just the values. So notice the difference. So when I press on these ones, Excel doesn't recognize it as a time or a date, etc. But these ones, it does. That's the difference. And finally, I'm going to show you the last option, which is this, values and source formatting. So this is going to show you the exact values as is over here, and it's also going to copy across the formatting, so the fill, the borders, the colors, the font size, etc. So those are all your different options of basic. So we can also do the same for formulas as well. So let's bring this across, and I'm going to go paste, keep source formatting, and I want to keep the formula, so I'm going to use this one here. So now, when we open up these ones, you'll see that the formula is still there. It's summing all of these, and the formatting is the same as well. So those are the different types of basic pastes. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be talking about is how to paste as a link. I've skipped this one over here, how to paste without border, because that's effectively you're just pasting without formatting, which we discussed. So how to paste as a link. This is a cool little trick that I'm going to show you. So let's say you're working with data over here where we've got our different areas, geographies, and we've got our different months. Let's say that I want to create a new tab, let's say a summary sheet. I'm going to create a new tab over here, call it a summary. And I want to show my data over here like this. January, February, March. And instead of manually updating the figures, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy this as a link. So a link is actually a way to link in between workbooks, so someone who's reviewing it can see where the data has come from. It's also a good way of updating it. For example, if you've got a summary sheet, someone can go in and update these cells, and the summary sheet will also update because it's linking into these source data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go paste, paste special, and paste link. So what this is doing is, instead of it being pasting a value or a formula, what it's doing is it's going equals auto sum shortcut key. That's actually the name of the tab that it's coming from, D20. So it's telling you the tab name and the cell that it's coming from as well. So it's saying auto sum, which is this tab here, cell D20. So now, when someone sees this summary tab, they know where the data is coming from, and they can also quickly follow that link through by pressing Control left open bracket, which is the square bracket. So just it's going to look like this, Control plus that square bracket, which is just under the plus symbol on the QWERTY keyboard. So let's do that on this 10 now, and it's going to follow us through, and as you'll see, this selector is actually right on the cell that the data is coming from. So now let's copy and paste all of this data as a link. Control V, and then paste link, and there we go. Let's save that. We're going to be talking about how to paste as a picture. So this isn't something that I use too often, but it is important when I'm creating, say, a PowerPoint, and I want to take a table that I've prepared in PowerPoint, or an email as well, and paste that into the email or PowerPoint or Word document, and it still retains it's how it looks. So this is important for tables because sometimes when you just select, copy, and paste into an email, it looks quite funny. So maybe I can just quickly show you what that happens. Okay, maybe not. So let's copy this, and instead of just pasting it, what we're going to do is we're going to go down arrow, we're going to select our data, copy it, we're going to go to where we want to paste it, and now on the down arrow we're going to go, there's a new option that's popped up under other paste options, and we can choose paste as a picture or a linked picture. So let's go picture first of all. Now you'll notice because this is a picture, well, first of all it looks quite nice and you can resize it without screwing up any of the formulas or numbers. The one downside is because it's a picture you can't edit any of the data, you can't change it, so it's more of an aesthetic thing, or if you want to save a record, maybe you update a report once a month and then you just take a picture and that's your snapshot to remember what happened that month. I often do this for PowerPoints as well, so I'll create a table or a chart in Excel and then I'll copy it as an image into a PowerPoint or an email, and it looks quite nice. Now let's try one more time, but this time let's paste as a linked picture. So this only works in Excel, but as you can see there's still the link at the top, so we know exactly where the data that we've copied this from. So this is a good way of keeping good records. So if you are taking a snapshot each month, someone can go, okay, I know where this data is coming from. It's coming from the auto sum shortcut key tab, C11 to G24, so they know exactly where that data has come from. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be talking about is using the paste special dialog box. And I did quickly go through this in the last topic of copying Excel data. So we're just going to do a little bit more of a high level approach. So when we're copying data and we press down arrow on the paste button, there's also this special area called paste special. Now also the keyboard shortcut for this to get into this special area is Control Alt V. So there's two ways to get in here. So let me show you the keyboard way quickly. So Control Alt V, and now we've got this dialog box popping up. Now there's different ways you can copy and paste using the special dialog box. It might be a quicker way of doing, instead of using your mouse and going paste formula, paste value, etc., which you can't do ordinarily by just pressing Control C, Control V. That's when you actually have to go into this special paste, and then you can paste as values or formulas and so forth. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be talking about is how to copy comments. And to do that, I'll first have to show you how to actually include a comment. So let's say I'm a reviewer and I'm reviewing this work paper, and I found out that there's a missing number here. What I can do is actually go Insert, Comment, like so. And here, as you'll see, the comment is now popping up on this particular cell, and I'm going to say, please fix. Okay, so it's going to have the date, the time, the comment, and what cell it applies to. And it stands out because it's got a little color code in the corner which corresponds to which user I am. Now let's say I find another error somewhere else in a cell, but I don't actually want to copy across the whole cell, because what happens when I copy and paste this, yes, the comment has copied across, but I've also now deleted the number or the formula, etc. But I'm also too lazy to basically copy across the text, especially if it's a very long comment. So what you can actually do is go Control C and then go to the special paste menu. So I'm going to go Control Alt V to bring it up. And then from here, you can actually go So with pasting comments, there's actually an update out, which means that you can't actually use this feature anymore. Normally when you press paste special, there's a comments and notes section, but this has been grayed out. So until Microsoft can update this, you can no longer use this workaround. So what you can do is either just copy the comment like this and press Control C, and then just repeat the comment like that. That's the easiest workaround. Or alternatively, you can paste the comment somewhere where you don't need the value, like this, and paste it like that, and the comment should copy across. Next we'll be talking about how to copy validations, and again, to show you how to do this, first of all we have to talk about what a validation is. Now validation is a way of controlling what a user can actually insert into your data book. For example, we might have a name or a gender field. Let's go gender. So there's only going to be two gender options. They're going to be male or female. So we want to limit that in this field by using data validation. And that's in the data tab up here. So if we press up here, data validation, and this tells you what you can allow. So by default, any cell is any value. You can type whatever you want into a cell. But what we want to do this is change this to a list. Now this means that you can only choose from a drop-down box based on what's in this source. So the source, you can either select a range like this. Okay, let's see what happens when you do that. You can now have a drop-down box and it picks from north, south, east, west because that's what's in this range. I can change that there, and that's also going to flow through here. The other alternative is, instead of putting it in a range, which is the preferred methodology, the best practice, you could also type it in. So you can go male, female, like this. Male, female. But it is best practice in Excel to actually link it in somewhere. So first of all, someone knows where the data is and can change it. And number two is you can quickly update anything if you need to. For example, if I wanted to change this, it would flow through. But if I wanted to change male, female, I'd have to actually go into this data validation and change it. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. All I want to do is show you how to copy across a validation. Now, there's a few ways of doing it. One way is just to copy, select a cell, the target cell, and go to paste special. Press validation. Okay. So now, I haven't copied the formatting or anything, but as you can see, the validation has been copied across. So the second way of doing it is just copying everything you've got here, but it will take across the formatting, the text, and the validation, which sometimes you don't want. Sometimes there's a value in a cell that you want to copy the validation across to, or maybe it's got a certain formatting that you don't want to override. If you don't care about that, then you can just do a straight copy and paste, and it will take across the validation as well. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be talking about is how to copy across a column width. Now, in this example over here, you can see this column here, column P, is very wide, and that's wide to fit this quite long string of text. Now, sometimes when you copy this across, see how column R is no longer that wide? And that can be an issue if you've got a value in column S, which means that this is now hidden. And the only way to do that is to manually widen that, which, it's slow and cumbersome. So there is a way that you can get around this and keep that existing column width, the source column width, through paste special. And the way you do that is you copy what you want to copy, you select the target area that you want to paste, and you go to paste special. So you go through here, paste special, or you can use your keyboard again, so Control-Alt-V. And then what you do is you press column width. And now the text, the column width has been pasted. That's one option. The other option is under paste special. Under paste special, you press keep source column width. So now we've pasted the text and the column width over here instead of just the small column like in the example here. The next thing we're going to be talking about is really cool, and it's called performing arithmetic operations with paste special. Now, let's say we've got numbers in here which are actually in the millions. We've got 10 million, 50 million, 90 million. And our table is written like this. $1 million. Now, my boss has come in and said, I want this table to show in millions of dollars. So actual dollars, not shorthand. So I want each of these numbers to be multiplied by $1 million. Well, currently there's no formula in there, they're just values. So there is a way that we can actually do this with paste special. It's a really nifty trick. So let me just hide these to get out of the way. So first of all, what I need is the value that we're going to use. So what I want to do is I want to multiply each of these numbers by 1 million. So I'm going to call this my multiplier and just format this as a number. Okay, just make it look a little bit pretty. Alright, so what I want to do now is copy this number. You can see the green boxes around it. And now I'm going to select my data range that I want to multiply, and I'm going to go Control Alt V, or paste special. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press multiply, and that's actually going to multiply each of these by what I've got copied. You can also do it by values, formulas. So the difference would be if I press values, what's going to happen is each of these is going to turn into a hard-coded $10 million, $50 million, and so forth. You can see that there's no formula in here. If I want to redo that, so I'm going to press Control Z on my keyboard to redo that, or I can press the undo button up here. It's undoing my formatting. Okay, if I want to do it as a formula, I can select these, go to my paste special, and go formulas, and then multiply, and press OK. Okay, so the next thing that I want to show you is dividing. So if I can do the same thing, I can go divide, OK. And now it's back to where it was before. That's a lot easier than going through each cell and adding an equal sign and timesing by a million, because you have to add the equal sign and you have to add the million to each of the individual cells. So it's quite a slow process. So this is a good way of changing your multiplier or your division very quickly. And the final thing we're going to be talking about is another function in the paste special, which is called transpose. So I'm just going to add in some extra rows here. I'm pressing Control Shift plus in case you didn't know. So what I want to do is I want these north, south, east, west to show up here like these are. And I want these to show up down here on the X column. Sorry, the C column. Okay, so the way you can do that, instead of going Control Paste, which is very slow for large data sets, we can select all of this, press where we want to put our data, and go to Paste Special, Control Alt V, and press this Transpose button. And then it'll copy it across like that. You can also do it for these ones as well. So I'm going to go Control Paste Values, Transpose, and now it's going down this way as well. So it's a cool way of reorganizing your table. And then I'm just going to format paint this as so now my table looks the same. And that is everything from special pasting in Excel.